Hello everyone, in this video we are going to talk about esophagus pathology. Now I have tried to cover all the things which is important for esophagus pathology in this one video. First we are going to talk about achalasia. So achalasia occurs because there is degeneration of the inhibitory neurons in the myenteric plexus. Myenteric plexus is also known as Orbeck plexus, which is present in the esophageal wall. Now because of this degeneration, there is failure of LES to relax. Our lower esophageal sphincter cannot relax in the achalasia. There is primary achalasia or secondary achalasia. Primary achalasia is idiopathic and secondary achalasia is due to Chagas disease or any extraesophageal malignancies. Now, Chagas disease is a parasitic disease which is caused by Trypanosoma cruzi, and due to extraesophageal malignancy, there is pressure effect on esophagus which will lead to secondary achalasia. Now, clinical features of achalasia is dysphagia, which is difficulty in swallowing to solids and liquids, and this is called progressive dysphagia, and there is an increased risk of esophageal cancer. Investigation for achalasia, manometry and barium swallow. Now in barium swallow, you can see bird beak appearance. So there is tight bird beak lower esophageal sphincter, and proximal to that there is dilated esophagus. Now next we are going to talk about gastric esophageal reflux disease, which is GERD. So there is transient decrease in the LES tone which will cause GERD, and it will lead to heartburn, regurgitation and dysphagia. Chronic cough and hoarseness of voice may be present. Complication of GERD is there is erosive esophagitis. Esophagitis is inflammation of the esophageal mucosa. There is stricture formation and Barrett esophagus. So normally our esophagus is lined with a stratified squamous epithelium, but due to repeated gastric acid exposure, it is converted to columnar epithelium. So this was all about GERD. Now GERD, remember three symptoms: main, heartburn, regurgitation and dysphagia, and it can lead to Barrett esophagus, which is a precancerous condition. Now next we are going to talk about esophagitis. Now in esophagitis is basically inflammation of esophageal mucosa. There are 5 types of esophagitis. First is reflux esophagitis, which is caused by GERD. Secondary to GERD, there is reflux esophagitis, and it is most common type. Second is due to medication like bisphosphonates or NSAIDs or tetracyclines. Third is eosinophilic esophagitis, which is associated with atopic disorders. Fourth is infectious esophagitis, in which Candida infection is most common. Here we can see white pseudomembrane on the endoscopy. There is cytomegalovirus infection or herpes simplex virus infection. And fifth is corrosive esophagitis, which is caustic ingestion. Features is odynophagia, which is pain while swallowing, and dysphagia, which is difficulty in swallowing. Now remember, whenever we talk about infectious esophagitis, it can be associated with immunosuppression. Now on endoscopy, how do we identify different types of infection? Like punched out ulcer are seen in herpes simplex virus infection, linear ulcer are seen in cytomegalovirus infection, and esophageal ring and linear furrows are seen on eosinophilic esophagitis. Plummer-Vinson syndrome. Now this syndrome is a triad of dysphagia, which is difficulty in swallowing, iron deficiency anemia, and esophageal webs. So clinical features may be like angular stomatitis, glossitis, koilonychia, and pale conjunctiva. The features of anemia, iron deficiency anemia. Now there is increased risk of esophageal cancer and specifically squamous cell carcinoma. So Plummer-Vinson syndrome, remember this triad: dysphagia, iron deficiency anemia, and esophageal webs. Second is esophageal varices. Now esophageal varices. So there are these dilated veins in the submucosa of the lower 1/3 of the esophagus. Why there is dilated veins? Because of the portal hypertension. Now this esophageal varices pathology is very common in patient of cirrhosis. Hematemesis is blood in the vomiting. Now next pathology is diffuse esophageal spasm or distal esophageal spasm. So there are this spontaneous uncoordinated contraction of the esophagus, but there is normal LES pressure. Now as we have seen that in achalasia and GERD, the problem was in the LES tone or the LES pressure. But here in the diffuse esophageal spasm, LES pressure is normal. Clinical features are dysphagia and chest pain. For investigation, we will do manometry and barium swallow. Now in barium swallow, we can see corkscrew esophagus. So esophagus has corkscrew appearance. Here you can see the corkscrew esophagus. So it is about the diffuse esophageal spasm. Remember normal LES pressure, but there are spontaneous uncoordinated contraction which will lead to dysphagia. Next is Mallory-Weiss syndrome. Now Mallory-Weiss syndrome is there are longitudinal lacerations in the GE junction. Why there are lacerations? Because of the severe vomiting. But these lacerations are only confined to mucosa and submucosa. Clinical features will be hematemesis, which is blood in the vomiting, and abdominal pain. Now, because of the lacerations are due to severe vomiting, it is majoritarily seen in the patients of alcohol use disorders and bulimia nervosa. Now, bulimia nervosa is an eating disorder where there is uncontrolled overeating and severe vomiting after that. And the last pathology we have to learn about is esophageal perforation. Most common causes are iatrogenic, while esophageal instrumentation and others are foreign body and trauma. So in esophageal perforation, patient may present with pneumomediastinum and subcutaneous emphysema. Subcutaneous emphysema may be due to the dissecting air, and signs like crepitus in the neck region or chest wall may be present. So these are the esophageal pathology that you must know about. Thank you.